Let's see if we can one-shot this. Jason, you there?
Here.
Oh, look at that. We one-shot it. Awesome. Good work.
Oh man.
How you doing? Friday afternoon blues?
Oh, Friday afternoon, ready for Friday night slash just ready to go to bed.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a week, hasn't it?
It, I was talking about this with somebody earlier today. I was like, it's great to have Labor Day weekend off, right?
Right.
But then the following days are always like 2x busier, at least.
But I think I think you could say that for any holiday. Like I
Yeah.
think you when you get a holiday and then it's when you come back from the holiday and it is inevitably a fact life, work, everything is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a good week.
Yeah.
All the stuff is good. It's just it is just like I said, 2x, 3x
Yeah.
busier than normal, and but yeah, happy
Well,
to hop on with you today
we're
and
glad to have you.
ecstatic.
We're glad to have you on
Yeah,
Friday. I talked you up this morning to Tea with a Hacker. Let everybody know we were going to do
awesome.
this. I like how we transitioned in from a co-working stream into this. Everything seemed to work really really good. So I'm digging that. I do have to say you posted up on LinkedIn your burnout post
Yeah,
with the phishing.
yeah.
Looked pretty good.
Um, You know, I had some time, like I mentioned to you, and I gave you that phone call
Yeah.
that day, and said, "Man, could we really, punt the live stream?" And it was just a really great time to spend some time with my brother
Yeah.
and to get out on the water and to think. And was one of the things that has just I have said this more often to our team internally is like I really want you guys to take ample time and go have a deep breath and go for a walk or go take a vacation day, and just think, because I know myself,
Yeah.
and I just work so hard that you get to the end of the rope and you're like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
burnt out.
Yeah.
I need to go somewhere and do something else before this turns bad.
Speaking of having a chat with your team, really quick pivot for you. This morning during Tea with a Hacker, we had a conversation around remote work, return to office policies, and somebody in chat had mentioned um, return to office policies were predominantly driven by micromanagers. Now, I know you've got an office for BitLift. I know that you allow people a lot of flexibility to come into the office and out of the office at BitLift. And we talked a little bit about micromanagers versus communication styles,
Yeah.
in that whole process. What is your take on this mandatory return to office, especially as somebody who, like I said, I know you don't mandate it, but you encourage your team to do it, and you support, a hybrid lifestyle there at BitLift.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the angle from micromanagers. I could see that. Um, I don't consider myself a micromanager, and I think if you went and interviewed one on one with my team members, that they wouldn't consider me a micromanager. I do encourage, though, like that in office, whiteboard, face to face, body language is important. And it also showcases, like, we've had some great conversations over Google Meets or Zoom, but we've also had some magnificent conversations in the office.
Mm.
And when you can tell that people have set aside all the distractions, their phone, family, their home life, like you're not trying to run the laundry, do the dishes in between meetings, and you're not trying to run the vacuum cleaner or make sure the kids get dropped off or picked up between meetings, right? When you're in the office, your head is in the game and
Mm.
you are truly deep diving on this problem and challenge. And I think that that is where majority of this push to come back into the office is coming from. Um, that's my take on it.
What do you say? What do you say to the naysayers? What do you say to the cyber is global? As long as I got a keyboard, I can do it anywhere. I don't understand why I have to be in the office. Oh, it's an hour drive in, an hour drive home. It costs. What do you say to all the naysayers? And again, Chad, I want to remind everybody this is why we have difference of opinions on stream. We don't do echo chambers here. And so, Jason, I'm putting you kind of on the spot on this one a little bit. But what do you say to those naysayers when they kind of give those reasons?
I would say you were doing it before 2020 March with no problem. You weren't putting up a stink then. Why put up a stink now? I would say, suck it up, Buttercup, if you need to go in for your job. If you don't need your job and you don't want to get paid and you don't need your job, then don't do what they're asking of you and quit. But if you need your job, you like your job, and you like the money that your job pays you, and they ask you to do something as part of the job description that you're signing up for, well, then, get in gear, get in with it. Uh, all right. So now my real
I was
response.
gonna say, now that you got
Now
that out of your system, now that you got that out of your
now
system,
that
now that you've pissed off the
here's the
entirety of chat.
yeah. Sorry about that, but here's here's the thing: is I would say, rather than come at it from this negative angle and come at it from this like I'm right, you're wrong,
Hmm.
and digging your heels in the sand. What I would ask you to do is find out, is there a meet in the middle?
Mm,
Say, okay, I disagree with you, but um, is there a meet in the middle?
hmm
Is there a come to a common ground? Find common ground, because they, just like you and I may argue or disagree on something, they may see a real reason
hmm
why coming into the office needs to happen, and you might just not see that reason yet. It might not have hit you yet. But once you do start coming in and you do start engaging with the team in the way that they're hoping things will come through, maybe you, in 3 months or 6 months, you'll come to the realization like, wow, was a great idea. And I don't have like go ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I've had some examples where, like, I have been wrong, but I have left the floor open for my other team members to tease out the idea or talk out the idea, and then sure, I'll come around and I'll be like, "Wow, you're right. I didn't see it from that angle before, but now I do." Um, we even had this internally over the last couple of months. I brought a topic up, and I said, "Guys, just hear me out on this.
Hmm.
Walk this road a little with me." And once everybody sort of like walked the road with me, they were like, "All right, we see where you're coming from now. Let's do it."
Mm.
You know,
So
and
you
so
find a
yeah,
lot of it being very like it's cultural based, right? You have to kind of go with the culture of the company, and if the culture of the company is like we believe in that in person collaboration, then that you've hired based on that, you've grown based on that, you've fostered that type of culture inside your company, and that's what makes you guys work, and that's what makes you valuable.
yeah. I mean, I think what you're oftentimes, I have believed this for most of my working career, that you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Hmm.
You need to figure out too whether like this is a culture that you automatically fit in, or are you trying to get hired and your motive is you want to change the culture that you're getting hired into.
Hmm.
And that's what I think you need to be careful of, is you need to find the company where the culture is already an automatic fit for you,
Mm,
not one that you look into going into and you're like, I want to change this place.
yeah.
I don't like the way that this place is. I want to change the culture here.
Mm.
Well, why do that? Why not just find a job where the culture already fits you and you fit it,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we had tried to hire for. And it's worked out really well. And I say leave the door open for conversations, like, especially around these.
Last
I
last
mean,
one last one for you, and then we'll move on to real threats. And because this one also came up this morning during
yeah,
tea. Do you feel like you have passed on good talent because they weren't local?
that's a good one. And the reason why I'm pausing is I'm thinking about all the people that we've talked to and interviewed. We probably have. Um, we probably have passed on good talent because they weren't local, or because we didn't feel like they fit the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll give you an example. I'm sort of big on this proponent or
Mm-hmm.
this talking point, but um, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but this is just me.
Yeah, you're the CEO.
If
You're the CEO
if
of a company. You can run this company however you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like, especially in an interview, you want to put your best foot forward,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you want to show yourself to be, respectable, accountable. If the person doesn't dress like they are, dressed to impress on their first impression is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dress is important. The way you talk and the way you behave, the way you act, right? If you're not dressed for that first impression and your conversation, maybe you're using cuss words or maybe you're even sort of being borderline offensive towards topics during the interview process, it's like, I didn't even get to your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't even gotten to ask you about your skill set yet, and yet I may be thinking about ending the conversation
Mm-hmm.
because I can't get past the cultural fit. Like, you know, BitLift is very big on making sure that we're customer based, customer centric.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that, our customers don't come to us and say, man, I was on the phone with your SOC team the other day and the only thing the guy did was cuss and swear and being offensive. And it didn't really look like he was, appreciated his job
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't really dressed, appropriately. And so there are these things that I think that are still very important to make sure that you're taking the job seriously. And so I think we probably passed on good talent, um, based on several factors, not only geolocation.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you sharing those insights. I sorry for springing those on you as an opportunity, just based on kind of the conversation that went this morning. So I appreciate you sharing
Yeah.
those insights. We are here for the post Labor Day week threat brief. So let's without further ado, let's talk about some absolutely horrendous things that are absolutely happening in the world of cybersecurity here lately. I know you've prepared some conversations for us. So hit me. What are we looking at this week?
Dude, I want to start out by talking about the Salesforce breach.
You
And
knew I was
like,
going to ask you about that.
yeah, man, I I thought about like I'm the type of person where I'm like laying in bed before I go to bed and I'm just reading, 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 reading. There's quite a few people on X and other platforms that are, talking about what's
Hmm.
going on. And I'm just like, the extent of these things. And it's just so funny that you and I have been having these live streams talking about certain topics. And then it just seems to be like 2, 3, 4 weeks later, we're like spot on our conversations.
Yeah.
And these aren't orchestrated at all.
Yeah. But I mean, I would attest though that just speaks to like what you're seeing, and the reason why we do these streams, what you're seeing at BitLift day in and day out, and the things you're monitoring for are the threats that are coming around the corner, or they're the threats that we've gotten hit with that you still continue to see. And I think it's a function of, you know, we always see them because they never get fixed.
Yeah, that's 100% it. So if you're not familiar with what we're talking about on this Salesforce Sales Loft data breach, let me just summarize it for you real quick. Attackers exploited the Salesforce Sales Loft drift integration, right? Using stolen OAuth credentials to gain persistent access. And then this enabled them to monitor and steal the data from connected Salesforce environments, including customer customer records, customer management records, the whole CRM, right? Everybody knows Salesforce is a big CRM SaaS offering. And so you and I, over the course of multiple streams that I could think of, we've talked about supply chain, right?
Yeah.
And so what we are seeing, and we're even recommending this to folks, our customers and people that we talk to, prospects, when we're talking about cybersecurity and what their real need is and where they feel like their pain is. But every time we talk to them, we try and bring up third party supply chain and integrations,
Yeah.
partnerships.
Yeah.
You know, let me tell you what, you cannot contract yourself out of a cybersecurity attack. You cannot write enough legalese to keep yourself secure. What you need to do is make sure that you know how that integration works
Yeah.
and what that integration is going to expose you to as a company. It's a big deal. And this is happening to big companies. We're highlighting this one. This is also happening to smaller companies that
I think we're highlighting this one
have API
because
integrations.
Salesforce is massive. Like there is so
It,
much sensitive data inside of Salesforce. And to your point, when there is an integration that exists between Salesforce and a tool that is as popular, right, as SalesLoft Drift was, as popular as it was for a lot of organizations to utilize, it is widespread. It is widespread.
100%.
And there's an implicit
100%.
trust that exists when these two integrations are sharing data across those two integrations.
Yeah. And so you could be thinking, well, I'm just a small organization. I'm 10 people, I'm 50 people, I'm 100 people, or you could be protecting a really large company. But Salesforce has your data, right? And you're everybody from a small company to a really large company. And to me, in all honesty, I think we only know a little bit right now because
Oh, you think
we're
there's
in the
another
very
shoe that's going to drop on this one?
well, it just seems to me like the sales loft, right? This is the sales loft integration. If you dig into it, is a pretty deep integration
Mm-hmm.
into Salesforce. My question is how did they, obviously stolen credentials,
Mm-hmm.
but how did they have permissions across multiple tenants,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because this didn't just affect one tenant inside Salesforce.
Yeah.
This affected lots of tenants, including like Zscaler
Mm-hmm.
and other SaaS companies that are publicly traded companies.
Mm-hmm.
The CRM records are out. The sales forecast data, marketing data is out, right? Customer databases
Mm-hmm.
are out, right? So it's like you're a publicly traded company. Your whole customer database is now just stolen from Salesforce through an integration.
And this
You know
is
what I mean?
we see, like I think we've talked a little bit, like there's, I challenge anybody who's in an Active Directory environment to go look at any of the delegated permissions from people doing social sign-ons through, I mean, hell, go do it in your Google Workspace environment or in your Microsoft environment. Go look at what those delegated permissions are. And you have no idea how somebody in marketing or sales or whatever the case is has just clicked that social login for whatever and has granted that extended OAuth type of permission set to that application. And you have no idea.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you, I mean, obviously we know that that's not reasonable from a business perspective, right? We can't say don't do that. It's never going to happen. You're never going to get control over it.
Right. This is in my mind, this is two things. This is talk to the companies where you believe you have integration points. Review permissions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's a big deal because we don't want integrations that are over permissioned and have too many permissions. We also want to verify like the credentials of those permissions, the credentials for those systems that have integration permissions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that was a mouthful, but when you think about this, is it most of the time when you do an integration, it requires a service account
Hmm.
or it requires some
An
sort of an
API
account
key,
that has
something. Yeah.
API key that has some permissions and then access to the areas that it needs to be. Um, what we have seen firsthand, and we've cautioned people against this, is like you don't want to just make an integration with an admin account full across the board,
But why,
like
Jason?
because it could have too much.
If I do that, it won't break, right? If
It's
I do that, it has all the
it,
permission it
it
needs to do its job.
it won't break. It's easier. I
Yeah.
can get it done today.
Yeah.
I can go home. I don't have to troubleshoot anything. I might not even have to read the docs.
Yeah. 100%. And you know what?
Yeah,
If anything happens, the IR team will handle it. I call
yeah,
Jason at
yeah.
BitLift and his team have got it.
Yeah. And we would say, why did you use the admin account on this? It has too much permission.
Yeah.
If you read the documents, it only needed access to this, this, and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Did you have
big
any?
recommendation.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's a big recommendation on our part.
Yeah.
Only give it the permissions it needs.
Did you have anybody? You don't have to disclose if you did or if you don't want to, but did you have anybody who was impacted by this? Did you have to respond to this at all?
Not this week, not that we know of.
Yeah.
We have been checking and asking our customers as good
Yeah.
partner, but to our knowledge, nobody
Yeah.
under our purview is affected by this. Um, I'm grateful for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I've
Because,
only heard a
you know,
handful of issues from people that I've talked to about it as well. Yeah.
yeah, in it, and for some reason, and again, that's why I'm kind of like, well, maybe there's more to this that we're going to see, but it seems like a lot of big names were part of
Yeah.
this breach, Zscaler and several
Yeah.
others, and so I'm
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking like, okay, well, was this like a different SaaS pod? Was this what was this that makes this sort of different? You haven't heard a ton of small names out there yet.
Yeah. So you invoked Zscaler, one that's not on your threat brief, but surfaced on mine, and it's more centered around the data privacy one. I'll talk about this one a little bit. Did you see that Zscaler has admitted that they are using all of the network traffic that they proxy to train their AI models?
Yes, without your permission.
Yeah, that's right, without your permission.
I saw that and read it, and I was like, "This is, this is." I hope a lawsuit gets opened because this reminds me of when Zoom, in the beginning days of COVID, right in the beginning of 2020, they got caught with their pants down routing traffic to
Oh
China,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
and
remember that. Yeah,
and it's just like, why do companies continue to do stupid stuff? And use our data and not tell us what they're doing, and we have to find out after the fact, and then they admit it, and then they look stupid, and I hope that they lose customers over it.
I,
Sorry, you're
I
catching me on a Friday where I've like had a hellacious week, so
no,
i'm
no, no,
i'm
no,
like
no,
a
no.
little
This
stupid.
is good because this is why I wanted to bring this one up because I know that I love your pragmatism and your cynicism, how they kind of come together. And when I saw this one, I was like, I need Jason to opine upon Zscaler training models. I do think a lawsuit has to come. I think it has to come. I don't think it'll be big enough.
Yeah.
But I also think that there are a lot of people are copying the Microsoft playbook when it comes to data
Hmm.
privacy. And they're
Hmm.
saying, we have enabled AI, you are opting into it, and therefore you implicitly give us consent.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about this, like, what would be the negative thing if people just said, you know what, we're going to use this traffic to help train our AI. The product's going to get better, and we're going to anonymize the data to the best of our ability. And here's some examples. But we wanted to give you a heads up because we believe it's the right thing to do. That's
Well,
the stuff that they didn't do.
it's the stuff that they didn't do, but I don't think that you're ever going to get ubiquitous consent to use any company's data to train your models.
Well, then let people opt out. Like people might have a real legit reason to opt out.
But then I
Like,
can't make the product better, Jason.
but you could make the product better on the company's data that they opt in, the customers that opt in.
Mm,
Make it better on that data.
No, no. If I do not have this Fortune 5 company's data training my model because they're a Fortune 5 company, I won't have the best data in the world to train my model on.
Well, go a step further. What if there's .mil, traffic
Yes,
running through there?
yes.
Hey, now wait a minute. You cannot automatically update your LLMs to train on the traffic that you didn't notify us about.
Yeah.
You didn't notify us. So we signed up for your terms of service when the terms of service were written this way. You changed the terms of service without notifying us.
Well,
This is
that's
where this.
well that becomes borderline. That crosses a lot of lines there because I'm pretty sure that there are some legalities around terms of service change that a lot of lawyers would. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't play one on TV and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night. But I'm pretty sure that lawyers get involved when you start to change terms of service without notification to
It's the Four
customers.
Seasons for lawyers.
Is it the
They
Four
only stay
Seasons?
at the Four
Oh, it's
Seasons.
the Four Seasons. I thought it
Yes,
was like a what's the Ritz Carlton or whatever. But
Ritz Carlton. Yeah,
Outcast brings up a good point, right? They saying they'll lose clients, but these days people forget quickly. And I think when we talk about Salesforce, we talk about Zscaler, talk about Zoom, right? In 2020, no, like Zoom doesn't have a shitty market share because of what they did in 2020, right? We may see a drop
right.
in Zscaler, Salesforce as it shows up on their 10K. I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to for the sake of this
Say it.
stream.
Say it. Say it.
It
Yeah.
continues to feel like data breaches don't matter. Data privacy doesn't
Mhm.
matter.
I know, and this is. I heard this stupid statement the other day of we bought this product because they're publicly traded and I wouldn't lose my job. And I was like, you bought the product because you are not confident in your job, skill set enough in your job. And so then therefore you went and bought a brand name in hopes that you wouldn't get fired because you bought a brand name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am tired of hearing people say, "Oh, we went and bought Cisco or CrowdStrike or whatever the big brand publicly traded company is because I won't get fired."
Yeah.
I could tell my boss I went and got that.
Yeah.
You know what? You should go find a different job
Yeah.
because you are obviously not confident enough and skilled enough and take the time to go do the proper due diligence and find the proper product that fits the need
Yeah.
versus you went and just bought a name brand product without doing your ample research.
And if a
You know?
security person is going to go to the CFO and say Salesforce got popped or Salesforce
Right.
allowed this integration, we have no idea whether these let's assume that this integration passed some Salesforce internal criteria to be on its marketplace or its partner portal to allow the integration, right?
Hmm.
And it's in there, it gets popped, whatever the case is. And now as a security person, you're like, hey, CFO, we have no idea how many of these other Salesforce integrations exist in here. We should cut off all Salesforce integrations. We should consider scratching Salesforce and going with somebody else. You'd get laughed out of the room. You'd get
Right.
laughed out of the room.
But why not stand up and have a backbone and say, you know what? If it happens to be me, says we have this historical experience right here. It's sitting right in front of us. We absolutely 100% should leave and go someplace else. Why aren't we talking about putting a plan together to leave and go someplace else? Obviously, this company is so big, they don't care. They're not putting the effort or they're not doing something right over there that has allowed this integration to cross contaminate so many different tenants within the SaaS product.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, If I were at that organization, I would at least say, listen, I think we should have a plan to do something else.
Yeah.
We should have a plan. We should be engaging with Salesforce and all the included parties and say, what are you doing to not only fix this, but also tell us the root cause. Tell us the root, give me the RCA. I want to read it for myself.
Yeah.
I want to know how we arrived at this problem because you're a big enough company
Yeah.
and you're a big enough company that we really should be worried about these supply chain
Mm-hmm.
attacks.
Yep. I will tell you. I'll tell you from my personal experience. I was at a company when both the Deloitte breach happened as well as the WePro breach, if you remember the WePro breach as well. And I sat on the call
Hmm.
with both of their CISOs. And the words that came out of my mouth were, if you want me to not run up the flagpole and absolutely demand that we drop every service you ever have now and for as long as I breathe into the future, I want to talk to whomever is doing the implementation on the remediation, and I want to see action plans with roadmaps that show me that you're going to address this. And
Hmm.
people will take you seriously in big enough organizations when you come at them like that. Whether it's on you to find out whether they follow up then and actually execute on those action plans. It's a different conversation altogether. But you can at least put the fear of God into them in the heat of the moment.
Which you should. I mean,
Yeah,
the data that we're talking about, enough is enough. Like
yeah,
where do we draw the line? Otherwise, if you fast forward just 3 to 5 years from now, short time period, if you fast forward and think about if we don't start getting serious about these problems now, where are we going to be and end up
yeah,
in 3 to 5 years from now?
yeah,
We're going to be okay with somebody gets to like make this personal. Somebody gets to refinance your home. Let's say you're an individual that has your home paid off, right? The Equifax breach. This is what I'm referring to.
mm,
You have your home paid off. Somebody goes and refinances your house because they have all the information that they need to, because there's enough data breaches that has allowed all the information, right? And then they go refinance your house, take the cash out, and one day when the mortgage payments aren't getting made,
yeah,
they come and evict you.
yeah.
And you're like, I'm
That's a
just
real
trying to
that's
bring
a
this
real
home.
scenario, folks. That's a real scenario. There are tons of
This
cases.
was happening in Chicago.
Yes,
This was happening in Chicago.
yes,
But
yeah,
I think there again, I think people forget. Time goes by and people forget, and then they get relaxed. And then next thing you know, boom,
yeah,
another big one happens. And then
yep,
all of a sudden, oh, we got to bring up our heighten. We're heightened sentences,
yeah.
But
I think that's the weird part about security though at the end of the day, right? Is like it's never front of mind until the adversary is at the door. And I'm gonna use this as a chance to pivot on you because in your notes that you'd had for today, you talked about you personally have seen a rise of DocuSign phishing messages to you as CEO of BitLift. What would be the impact to your customer trust if you had fallen victim for any of those?
oh, we would have people automatically, start to guess our security posture. Um, Not guess, but question is
Yeah.
is the better word there. Question our security posture, question our audits that we've
Uh-huh.
undergone, question our training, right? But this is one of the things I wanted to drive home was um, not only do I look at my email almost all day, every day,
Mm-hmm.
there's also another individual on our team that also helps look
Mm.
at my email and make sure that
That
nothing
that's a
gets
that's
missed.
an admin, folks. He's not saying it's an admin.
It's somebody that helps me scale me, and so,
Business speak,
but
chat.
this
That's
person
business speak, chat.
business speak, yes. Um, this person and I, we were chatting about how legitimate this looks,
Yeah.
right? If we were 1,000 people and I wasn't able to keep track of all of the people and all of the expenses,
Mm-hmm.
and keep these things in my head, um, something like this would probably just get, clicked on,
Yeah.
signed. Um, but yes, we have had an uptick, and I'm
Hmm.
talking like 3 this week, 5 last week, probably about 5 the week before,
I laughed.
where
I
it
laughed when
was
I saw this because we at Query, like I've personally had to do several incidents like this at Query as well, where I've got the sales guys messaging me and they're like, "Hey Neal, is this legit? Like, I don't think that this is
right,
legit at all."
right.
Yeah.
And they're using the almost the exact
Yeah.
format that we've seen, because we compared it to another DocuSign that we got from a legit company.
Mm-hmm.
And then we compared it to this one, and I'm like, well, spacing,
Mm-hmm.
font, location, logo, everything looks like the colored bar
Mm-hmm.
on the email. Everything looks really darn legit.
Yeah.
Like, if you just glanced at this for 3 seconds and then you thought, okay, I need to sign this, click on it, um, this is a problem,
But
right?
also,
And
I mean, think about it like this. To your point, you are the CEO. You deal with God knows how many things, whether it's NDAs, whether it's contracts, whether it's partnership agreements, whatever the case is, and you could be in the middle of 5 conversations at any given time, and you'll get a DocuSign, and you're like, oh, it's probably associated with this deal, or it's probably associated with that deal, or it's probably an NDA, or it's probably whatever the case is, and if you're not paying attention to
right,
it, it's there.
100%. And it comes across as, per our conversation, here is the document for signature.
Yeah.
And I just think about like how so many people in sales, or that is trying to work with us on sales or partnerships, shorthand things,
Mm-hmm.
as per
Mm-hmm.
our conversation, here's the document we discussed and for your signature.
Yeah.
And so if you don't watch it carefully, you'd click on it and probably sign, or you'd click on it and get some malware, you'd
Yeah.
click on it and do whatever was the next thing. And so I'm just letting you guys know, like, we have experienced this, and it's getting through Google Gmail,
Mm.
Office 365, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's not getting flagged as spam. It's getting sent as a legit email. So you need to keep your ears up and tuned into this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a tough one. This is that, like, that's how business email compromises start. That's how, to your
oh
point,
yeah,
stolen credentials start. Like, that's an easy one that comes across as yep, that one will get you. That one will get you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, if you're okay with it, I want
Yeah.
to talk
You
about
want it? You
a
got
little
one you
bit.
want to talk about? Okay. What you got?
Well, I've been wanting to talk about all these, but what do you think? What do you think about this whole Russian state-sponsored group, APT-28? They're also known as Fancy
Fancy
Bear.
Bear.
Kind of
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
yeah. Linked to some military intelligence, but they have actively been deploying a Microsoft Outlook. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Microsoft Outlook backdoor, dubbed not door. And it I love this. I mean, like, this is genius stuff, right?
Yeah.
Backdoor, not door,
Yeah.
in attacks against companies in NATO member countries across various sectors, right? But it's affecting Outlook, and it monitors incoming emails, outgoing emails, triggering on specific words, enabling data exfiltration, file theft, all out of
Yep.
Outlook.
All out of
What do you
Outlook.
think, man?
I mean,
I mean,
here's like I have firsthand experience.
if you use Outlook, raise your hand.
I mean, I do. I'm not good. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I have firsthand experience going toe to toe with the Russians. In offensive cyber. Those dudes are no joke. Right.
yeah.
That team is amazing. And I don't know if you've ever heard me tell this story or not, but I think I tell this story on stream a couple times where it's like, they work closely with the cyber crime gangs in their region, and they've got one rule for those cyber crime gangs. They're like, hey, if you come across anything that is NATO, government, like whatever, you hand it off to us. And for that, we're not going to, drop you out of a window like we used to do the KGB agents all the time, right? Type of thing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, And so those dudes are smart. They're smart and they're ruthless.
Yeah.
And so like I saw this, and as soon as I saw Fancy Bear, I was like, oh, this is going to be innovative. This is going to be innovative, and it sure as hell was. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Outlook, again, Outlook's just another application, but again, it's an application that allows plugins. It's an application that is VB script on the back end. It's an application that does allow for some customizations, modifications. Remember, Outlook was one of the first, one of the early days of Outlook was one of the ones that allowed HTML to be displayed by default in the email preview, which is what allowed a lot of the JavaScript
That was a
malware.
good idea.
Right? Exactly. We're just going to allow HTML so that the JavaScript can automatically run whenever it lands in your inbox, right? And so, this when I saw this one from you, I just shake my head because it's continued user placating to the needs of the user and the simplicity of the needs of the user at the sacrifice of basic security controls.
Yeah. So I did some research on this, and the thing that I'm going to be honest with you, I have not been able to find where this says this is so the information that is omitted right now from being stated is whether if this is Outlook as a standalone installation on the endpoint, or if this is also including Outlook
Exchange.
Exchange delivered
Yeah.
as a SaaS.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I have not been able to find anybody that
Oh.
says this is explicit
This is
one
not
direction or
this
another.
is not the first time you've come to this threat stream claiming some
All I
shadiness on Microsoft's part in their disclosures.
we will watch what they come out with next week as far as, announcements, but here's my point, folks, is you have to take into account what is being said. You also have to take into account what is not being said. Because what's not being said is just as important of what's being said. So
So
I would agree with you.
for the people who missed a couple streams ago, double down on that. What are you talking about?
Well, for instance, they talked about the Exchange servers that was basically exploited, and Exchange email on-prem. They said that it was on-prem,
Mm-hmm.
and that it affected the on-prem Exchange servers only. That vulnerability that was being exploited only affected. But, however, they came out with this statement several days after that the announcement was announced that there was a 0-day Exchange and the vulnerability existed, which, in my opinion, allowed them time to patch Office 365 online
in the SaaS in the cloud.
in the cloud,
Yeah.
in the SaaS in the cloud.
Yeah.
And so, let's be honest, if you're an executive at Microsoft and you're sitting across from the team that is handling this, and you'd say, is this involving both the SaaS and the on-prem? And the team says, yes, because it's the same code base. And then your next question is when do we have to announce this? Well, legally in our legal binding documents says that we get 48 hours.
Right.
Go patch online first,
Yeah.
and then tell everybody else to download this patch in 48 hours from now.
Yeah.
But I'm not an executive at Microsoft. They'd probably never hire me, but
But it's a theory.
Right. It's a theory, and nobody's proved me wrong so far.
We haven't got nobody from Microsoft has called you and given you a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love those.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah. So just coming back to this, think about Outlook. So if you'd say, okay, we might have an Outlook problem. And I'm sitting here, and if you're somebody that's sitting here listening to this right now, and you're like, "Yep, I use Outlook, and I am on the latest version." Cool, you're affected by this.
Yeah.
You have this vulnerability, and you can patch. They did scramble and come out with a patch, um, but if for instance, if you haven't patched and you think that it's maybe days, weeks, or months before you can patch based on your patch management program, um, you must go look for unusual macros,
Mm,
monitor email traffic for anomalies, and you must take action now because this is a pretty big one.
yeah.
Um,
Email's at the center
and
of every business
I
function.
email, I tell people, like, email, treat it as the frickin' file server. You
Absolutely.
know, oh, you need that document? Let me attach it to an email and send it
Yep.
to you.
Yep.
Why not just tell me where it was
Yep.
in OneDrive or Google Drive or on the file server? Why did you attach it to the email and now send it to
And
me?
send it
Like,
and send it over the
email
internet.
has, yeah, send it over
Yeah.
the internet.
Let me tell you my conspiracy theory, and this one I'll share. It is slightly backed up from my lived experiences at the agency. I don't know, Chad, if I mentioned that I worked at the NSA for a number of years or not. Inside joke with Chad. Um, we saw, right, SharePoint.
He's proud of that, chat. He's proud of that.
We
You
we
should be.
we saw the SharePoint one a month or 2 months ago, right? Similar
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing it with Exchange. When I was on the other side of this, that's not coincidence. What happens
Yeah.
is they saw the vulnerability that was being exploited in the SharePoint 0 day, and it was a similar piece of code that was being used in other parts of the code base that the adversaries had already exploited and were using them as exploits together. They would use the SharePoint one, they'd use the Exchange one, they were using multiple of these, and Microsoft saw the vulnerability in SharePoint, scrubbed the entirety of the Microsoft suite of code base, saw it there, then went to hunt for indicators, found indicators, and released that there was the vulnerability that existed there. So what we're seeing is we're seeing something that has been in use by the adversaries for a really long time that they have known about, that they have exploited, and that Microsoft is seeing a repeating pattern internally in their code base.
100%.
Yep.
And I think that I don't think your conspiracy theory is wrong because if you think about when and how these announcements are coming out and on which products they're coming out, um,
Yep.
seems a little timely, seems a little orchestrated to me.
Seems
But
a little. Yep. Absolutely. So, with that being
so
said, I would make a prediction. I might go so bold as to say, so we've seen SharePoint, we've seen Exchange. Um, those are really kind of the two big ones. We know Microsoft. I mean, we could talk about Windows, but I think Windows always ends up being a mixed bag if we're going to see a Windows level exploit or not. Sure, why not? Let's
yeah,
call a Windows. We'll see a Windows 0 day here before long.
you probably will. I mean, I would say it's sort of ripe for what's happening. It's either that or my next hypothesis is on Entra ID.
Hmm.
I I would think that the way that authentication is going at the moment, the way that Microsoft is fast-paced rolling out Entra ID and forcing this across the entire Microsoft ecosystem,
Mm.
that it's quite probable. And and
I
and
would
then if you
actually
are embarking,
I would actually take an Intra vulnerability over a Windows vulnerability. I would actually take an Intra vulnerability over a Windows vulnerability. I think that's more probable.
yeah,
Or a OneDrive one,
yeah,
as Beardsec says here. I think OneDrive could be an interesting, interesting next target as well.
yeah. Um, And so when you think about this, so we've told you a bunch of bad news, or we've told you a bunch of things to look out for, right? Um, I have come down to this. It is so important for you to have identity and access
Mm,
controls um, in place and know your identities and where they're being um, used from and consumed from. Get this down inside of your organization like a well-oiled machine.
And not
Because
just human identities, but this non-human identity API stuff as well.
yes, yes. And so it's a good point. I'm glad that you clarified that. What we have been showing and sharing with people is that you really need to think about that API integration
Mm-hmm.
as another identity
Mm-hmm.
that, see, it doesn't know right from wrong.
Yeah,
It just knows that you gave it credentials to connect to something.
that's right.
And you really need to watch and monitor it and make sure that it does not deviate from its course.
Yeah, yeah.
And only you will know when it deviates from its course
And
or the parameters that you've set up.
I would argue there are a lot of immature API systems that are not very well restricted on what they can and cannot do in a lot of ecosystems.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, so when we've been thinking about this, we've been thinking about how are we enforcing multi-factor authentication,
Mm,
role-based access control,
mm,
monitoring for credential abuse,
mm.
um, reducing reliance on RDP and the whole remote desktop.
God, are we still seeing? Are you still? Tell me you're not still seeing RDP in environments,
Man,
Jason.
uh, I wish it weren't so. I wish it weren't so, but um, I yeah, yeah. I would, you know, people love it. It's easy. Again, go back to how we started out today's conversation. It's easy. Um, so
Yeah, yeah,
so those are some big things. If I had to tell you where to go focus your effort
yeah.
today, um, the other thing is your policies in M365. Do not forget about setting up your policies inside of M365. Um,
We do have I think the IOC's command is still working, right? Yeah, awesome. So
yeah.
Jason has done a fantastic job of aggregating some best practices around M365. They're on the IOC's link that I
Mhm.
just posted in chat as well. So Jason talks about these policies. He's got some of those best practices out there on the IOC site as well.
Yeah, if you're new and you haven't listened before, we talked several streams ago about email, M365 security. We spent almost all stream talking
Yeah.
about it. There's a doc out there that, you know, we provide to our customers. If you're not our customer, you're basically getting content that, um, that we supply to our customers. So, you know, happy to help you on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great way to end a Friday, I think, Jason, talking about all the bad shit in the world. You got any good news for us?
Um, it's beautiful weather. I'm I'm gonna go and try and have a relaxing, restful weekend and hope that things are quiet.
When are you coming down? When are you coming down here so we can play some golf? That's the question of the
Dude,
day.
we need to do that. Um, I would say probably like mid to late October. It's
Done.
probably going to be my first opportunity.
Done.
Uh, you guys have got to you guys have got to cool down there. Think today here in Michigan, our high was 65. So uh, if you want to come up here and golf in 65-degree weather, that sounds really great.
I got 6 tournaments lined up in September. I'm gonna be all over the place. I'm leaving. I'm leaving to go to Myrtle Beach after this stream, as a matter of fact, and gonna go play
Oh,
Myrtle
sweet.
Beach. Yeah, yeah. I got 6 tournaments. I'm
Nice.
gonna be down in PGA National in Florida, playing PGA National down in Florida.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to that.
Well, has your back and everything been good?
Yeah, I've got a chiropractor that comes to the house. I now have a mobile chiropractor, and he comes to the house and does all my alignments and everything at the house.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I've got so
That's great.
we're in the process of converting one of the gym bays into a garage, and so now
Okay.
I'll have my own gym, my own sauna, my own cold plunge, the golf simulator, and a chiropractor who comes to the house. Like I have everything that I need, short of an actual golf course in my backyard, to continue my training
Yeah.
for the PGA Tour.
Well, I mean, all you guys got to do is, hit a slam dunk with Query, and then you'll be living on a golf
What
course.
are you
You
talking
know.
about? Query's already a slam dunk.
I know, but I'm saying like, in your future years, so you just, yeah. Well, what are you missing then? Cold plunge, sauna.
Yeah, gym.
Are you missing anything?
A golf course in the backyard. I need to I need
That's
to
it.
I need to I need to pick the house up and move it to a golf course so that I can just like walk out the back and onto the golf course to play.
Just build a new one.
Just
Build a new one.
build one right out there. Just go ahead and zone it out and everything.
Yeah, yeah. If you were here in Michigan,
Yeah.
there's some property that I know of where you could build a 9-hole course on.
You wanna go halvesies on building a 9-hole course?
That would be sweet.
Look at
Then
that
we could do
chat.
live streams. We could do live streams right from the golf course and talk about cybersecurity.
So I'll tell you this, chat wants me to do live streams from the golf course. When you come down, if you can give me a
That'd be
date,
fantastic.
I would love to do this. I do have this idea. BeardSec and I have talked about this idea a little bit. I'll float it past you.
Okay.
You and I will do an interview on the golf course, but it'll be a little bit of a friendly match too, right? So
Oh yeah.
if I win the hole, I get to ask you an uncomfortably challenging question. And if you win the hole, you get to ask me an uncomfortably challenging question.
I'm already at a disadvantage. uh have you seen that movie at the end of the movie where he brings out that like robotic golf club
Yeah.
and it just like
Boop.
you know
Yeah, I've seen that.
drops it right in it. I may have to purchase that device and bring it with me.
But yeah, we are. We're gonna
I
get
just
we'll get Noah to film you, and we'll have
yeah.
BeardSec film me, and we'll
Okay.
film the whole thing, and we'll mic each other up, and we'll do a full blown interview right there on the golf course for 9 holes.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I would do it.
All right.
Um, Sign me up. We'll have to get a date around it.
That's right. That's right. There you go, chat. We got a commitment for an on the course golf interview. All right, Jason. Happy Friday. Send everybody home for the weekend. This will be it. We'll sign off the chat, the stream chat. I'll say my piece first. Thank you so very much as always. We had a great Tea with a Hacker. We had a great co-working stream and a great threat brief. Just real quick on the programming, I'll be out on Monday at a golf tournament, so no co-working. Make sure you go follow BeardSec. Go co-work with BeardSec on Monday because I'll be at a golf tournament, but you can hit me up in my DMs on Monday at the golf tournament. I'll be back to co-working on Tuesday of next week, and we'll co-work Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. With that being said, Jason, send us home for the weekend.
Yeah, great chatting with you guys. Love hearing what everybody's got to say and ask. Thanks so much. I hope that the threat briefing today was informative to you. We will continue to keep our eyes and ears out on what we're seeing and hearing in the space and bring you guys the latest, greatest content for 2 weeks from now. So see you again in 2 weeks.
All right, y'all. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend.